So, apparently, former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is coming out with a book in October, a memoir, I should say, in October. What is the name of the memoir? I think it's Unleashed or something like that. We'll see in a few minutes. And he said that he was asked, 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 asked. I can never say this word properly. To persuade Prince Harry to stay in the UK by Buckingham Palace and Downing Street. I think this is the first time for me personally where um, it has been admitted by a top level player that indeed the palace and the office of the government, the prime minister, were working hand in hand in cahoots to bust up Harry and Meghan's marriage. Because I've always speculated, even when the other president was there, Rishi Sunak was there. I felt there was no support for Harry and Meghan coming out of that office. As soon as some people were talking about Kate, they came out, oh, Sussex Squad is bad. Stop talking about the Princess of Wales. Oh my God, she's so delicate. But for years and years and years, they never once came out and said anything in support of Harry and most definitely Meghan. That was so jarring and just like, wow. So I knew that obviously the office of the government, I mean, the 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 monarchy is part of the government, technically speaking, or maybe not even technically. The government is the monarch's government. It's the king's government. So it's all in cohorts. Obviously, I know that, obviously. But to actually hear Boris Johnson admit that he was told by the palace and Downing Street, which is, the epicenter of the British government, the parliament, whatever. I mean, whatever. For me, it's like gobsmacking. I'm like, oh my God, they finally said it. Someone finally said that all of these top level people, the monarchy and the government, the actual government of the United Kingdom, was working together to try to bust up Harry and Meghan's marriage by convincing Harry to leave Meghan. So after Meghan had left the UK, that, she'd gone to Canada, well, they had both gone to Canada for Christmas, and then in January they announced that they would be stepping back, I believe. And then Meghan left. Did Meghan ever come back? Yes, she did come back with him at a couple of different points. But anyway, when she finally left, she was with Archie in North America, whether Canada or the USA. It might have been Canada. And so Harry was back in the UK alone, and Boris and was working him to get him to just leave Meghan and Archie in North America, pay some child support. I mean, Boris didn't say that about the child support, but he said he was tasked with having this manly tete-a-tete with Harry to convince Harry to stay with the royal family, to continue with his royal duties. And yeah, so and he said that it was, the monarchy and Downing Street. So it says here that Boris Johnson has claimed he was asked by Buckingham Palace to persuade Prince Harry not to quit royal life or leave the UK shortly before the Sussexes moved to North America. In the in the former Prime Minister's new book Unleashed, which will be released on October 10th, Mr. Johnson claimed he was asked to give the Duke of Sussex a manly pep talk to convince him that it would be a mistake to leave Britain. He said that officials in Downing Street, okay, and Buckingham Palace approached him in January 2020, just weeks after he entered office, believing he might be able to dissuade Harry of his decision, not their decision. So, Meghan was very absent in this whole thing. It was all about getting Harry to dump his wife. It was all about busting up that marriage, with that black woman. I mean, I hate to say it, but it is what it is. It has to be said. And this woman is not even, I mean, look at this woman. You saw her in Africa when she stands against people who are African. This is a woman who clearly is 50-50. She's clearly 50-50. But the fact that 50% of her is African is too much for them. Meanwhile, they go around milking Africa of all they can get out of Africa. So here he is with Harry at the UK Africa Investment Summit of 2020. And this photo is another eye opener for me personally because it makes me realize that, these people court Africa a lot and they're doing it for investment purposes. It's about money. They want money because the UK is not investing in Africa to help Africa. They're investing in Africa to help UK. There's no free lunch. There's a lot in it for them. And so I think that what this picture is telling me is that they saw Harry as some kind of asset with regard to places like Africa, right? To be the face that would help them with all of their quote unquote investment plans, right? They're making money. So it's kind of like, how when Harry and Meghan went to Colombia and they had such a successful trip to us, lay people watching, like, oh my God, how beautiful, how culturally, like, fascinating, and so on and so forth. And the British media was having just a hissy fit, and people from the palace were giving, statements to the media that the trip to Colombia was useless. Like, what did they achieve? What did they accomplish? And they made a point of saying that when the monarchy sends people out on royal tours, there's business behind it. There are investments behind it. There are things going on behind the scenes. It's not just a tour to show off, the wife's wonderful outfits. The wife's wonderful outfits, like Megan's wonderful outfits, are just the sort of packaging, right? It's the packaging. But behind that, there's usually a lot of high stakes business going on. They're selling something, they're negotiating something, they're investing in something. There's money. Money is being talked, right? Because these trips are expensive, the security expensive. I guess, the host country would, you know, pay for that anyway, because these people don't spend their own money. But behind all of that, the UK is still making money somehow, right? And so they see Harry as being a key player in this whole scheme that they have going on with Africa and places like Africa, other places in the Commonwealth, and so on and so forth. Because who's going to do it? Charles is old. He's not really, energy wise and even influence and popularity wise, nobody cares. I mean, that's just the truth. So all you really have, I mean, Anne is old. Andrew can't represent the monarchy, right? I mean, all you really have are William and Harry and their wives, and they built the whole brand around that. It was supposed to be William and Harry and their wives until George and his generation grows up. Harry spoiled things by choosing the wrong wife, a wife that was part black. This was not an appropriate wife for Harry, in their opinion. This is just a fact. She was not appropriate, right? And so she needed to go, and they were all trying to get Harry to, shoo her away, let her go, let her have the baby, the 1/4 black baby. She can keep that. You get an appropriate wife and have some new babies that are appropriate. This was their whole, I mean, look, this was their whole game plan, right? And then once he did that, then you have this foursome of William, Kate, Harry, and his new wife, and they were going to be the face of this monarchy, this machinery that they were able to now present to the world, and especially certain parts of the world where they could, behind the scenes of all their beauty and their outfits and their hats and their clutches, be making deals that are in the UK's interest, right? That are in the UK's interest. This is really what that was because look at this UK Africa Investment Summit of 2020. Boris Johnson with Harry. I mean, you know, they wanted Harry to be the face of this. Now Harry is still going to these places. He's going to Africa, he's going to the Commonwealth, but he's not going there with any investment um, theme or investment motive. You see what I'm saying? So to them, the whole thing is a waste of time. They've actually said it about the Colombia and Nigerian trips. It's like, what is the point of these trips? There's no point. You're not making any money for the UK. And so they feel like Harry is wasting UK real estate, because Harry is like real estate. He's supposed to go be the face of it and then make those deals that benefit the UK. And by the way, the UK has been, you know, creaming Africa for quite a long time, hasn't it? So it's nothing new, really, right? But that's why they are frustrated with Harry, is because who is now going to be the face of this, right? William can't do it. He doesn't have the pizzazz. He doesn't have the popularity. Charles is old. I mean, the game is up, the gig is up without Harry. So, in a real sense, they still want Harry back. I mean, if you listen to what they're saying, like on some of these shows, the fact that Harry's going to Africa, South Africa, right after the UK, and he's going solo. And oh my God, I mean, they're singing Harry's praises because suddenly Harry is shining because he's solo and he's left Meghan behind, conveniently poo-pooing the fact that Meghan, for the past 4 or 5 years since they left the UK, has been with her husband, and it is them together that have built the new brand upon which Harry is now going on a solo trip and shining because he and Meghan have created such a brand that people hang on to his every word because together he and Meghan are so riveting, right? I mean, so the very first time that Meghan doesn't go, they're trying to divide and conquer them to put it in Harry's head that without Meghan, he's all of that. Trust me, if Harry starts making a whole bunch of solo trips without Meghan, very quickly people will lose interest in Harry, right? So, I mean, Harry better measure it out well so that they have a balance of these solo trips with Meghan because Meghan is a key part of Harry's popularity. It's not that Harry was not popular before he got married to Meghan, but he went through the stratosphere, okay, once he married Meghan, right? And they all know it. So I'm not even going to get a conniption about that. But anyway, I digress a little bit. It's all about what Boris Johnson said, confirming that Buckingham Palace and Downing Street have always been in cohorts in trying to bust up Harry and Meghan's marriage. Anyway, what are your thoughts about that? Tell me in the comments. See you in the next one. Take care. Bye.